Live and nationwide, worldwide actually. Michael will be joining us in a couple minutes, and then I've got to leave at 7:30. Trying to be in three places at once. I can do one pretty easy. Two, I can get that done, but three is where I can't triplicate myself. Superman did this thing where he could split his body in half, at the atomic level and get this going. So we are resilient. That's what W.A.R stands for. I am one half of the party. I am Travis Partington with Oscar Mike Radio, and the other half is Michael Geary, Army veteran and founder and executive director of Hellfish Haven. I'm going to put that link in the chat right now. My computer cooperates with me. There we go. Kind of getting this down. And then there is me with Oscar Mike Radio. We're waiting for Michael. If you want to come on the live stream through your phone or computer, just click that studio.restream link above. So while we're sitting here waiting for Michael, because we're trying to be simple Gumby, I want to share this link with you. Let me talk about this for a second. Oh my God, Jimmy James. Man, Jimmy James is an Army veteran. He's been supporting Oscar Mike Radio for a very long time, and haven't seen you in a while. You've been busy, my man. It is great to see you on here tonight. I'm glad you checked in, and yeah, I'm doing well, man. Thank you very much for asking. And I must say, I'm not a beard guy myself, but your beard is massively impressive. Truly, you commit to your art and passion to make that happen. I'm going to put this link in the chat. I'm going to mute my phone. There we go. And I want to talk about this. I got a chance to talk with PFC Denisha Montgomery Smith's family member, her Aunt Tamika. And her Aunt Tamika served in the Army, got out as an E6, I believe. And, we had a very good conversation about, the status, what was going on, leadership failures, and what people could do with, to help advocate for Denisha. I'm very, very humble and very pleased when someone, either from Michael's stream or Oscar Mike Radio or for somebody else says, hey, how do I get involved? And, I did a series of letter writings a couple weeks ago, and that went very well. And I got to this week with Adam Gunn of, he's the Abington, Massachusetts Veteran Service Officer. Got me in contact with Senator Keenan's office here in Massachusetts, and they gave us some real good advice about how to advocate through communication with elected officials, what to do, what not to do, and I want to thank them for their time. And but I was kind of struck. A couple people said, "Well, this is just a GoFundMe, money grab." I'm like, no, this is not a GoFundMe money grab. I can assure you the family would love to do anything else besides sit there and put up a GoFundMe link. I said, you have no idea the cost they're involved to try to solve this, especially when Denisha died, you know, in Germany. It was really, something else to see, right? And so, there is no money grab here. There is no, false thing going on here. What you have is somebody who, desperately is trying to find out what happened with, their daughter, family member, and friend, not knowing how to navigate, everything that's going on here. I'm just going to do something here real quick. Gotta hook Michael up. No. So, uh, people are people and people do that, but it's not going to change what we have to do. And more to follow on that. So, last week we talked about nonprofits, how to look at a nonprofit, what to do. We talked to some nonprofits that came on and talked with us and, collaborated with us. It was very, very cool to see. So, oh yeah, I got the chat here working tonight. Michael, I just emailed it to you, but I'm going to put it in the chat again just so you have it. And Jimmy James says, always nice to brainstorm stir the pot, but really needing solid advice to help them along the way. Solutions is what we need, not a promise. Vets know that damage. That's absolutely correct, Jimmy. I think a lot of us veterans and people in general are just tired of, talk, and nothing to go for. And I think in the waiting room right now, we have Mr. Gary. Let me get him on. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, no. Well, let me check my. Oh.
Is my volume up?
You know?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
You got me?
What just happened to my headphones?
Test.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Hold on a second. I have a different pair of headphones on, and I think they're acting up.
Test. 1, 2.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. How's it going?
Doing good. Apologize for running a little late there.
No problem. We're working this out. So I'm on up tonight because you came in 10 minutes. I got to leave in 20 just for a work call, but we're making this happen. So just kind of recapping last week a little bit about the value of nonprofits. And also you can see your stream chat here on the side now. So that's pretty cool. How are you doing, Michael?
Doing well. I'm just trying to, see everything that's going on. Had a veterans collaborative. What do they call it? When everybody gets together.
Yeah.
It was online.
Oh,
So
very
it was
nice.
Greater Boston Veterans Collaborative. They're the ones that we've shared before. Collaborate.vet.
Oh, cool.
And if you're ever looking for an event, if you go to collaborate.vet, you can actually find like all these different events that are going on, whether you're, in the North Shore, South Shore, Worcester, Pittsfield, like whatever area you're at.
Right dot vet. Hang on, let me see if I can find that. Yeah, I got it right here. Cool, man. I'm gonna pop it in the chat. And we've got Craig checking in. Hello, gentlemen. Just want to pass along that New England Helping Our Veterans fundraiser last Saturday was a huge success. Awesome. Also tuned in today for AJ, which is a huge success. So all a great weekend, man. This is awesome. You know, I like seeing that stuff, Michael.
Yeah, we promoted heavily the event for AJ, and I was unable to attend, but we sent over Venmo to buy some raffle tickets anyways.
Well, that's what it's all about, is supporting each other, and they're certainly doing a whole lot this year, and have in the past. It's just a really great thing to see people starting to come together and help each other out.
It is, and that's the thing, you don't have to just, be by yourself in the nonprofit world. There's so many people feel like you got to fight the other nonprofits for the money that's coming in, but you really don't. I feel like we all do better when we work together, and instead of being cutthroat to one another, if we work together, we can make more of a positive impact. And when you make more of a positive impact, people are more willing to support your mission.
Well, why do you think some people want to just hold on and be that, I'm going to, be in my sandbox. I'm not going to let anybody play with my toys. I'm not going to share my toys.
Because they weren't told no growing up. No, it's a lot of people they look at the nonprofit world like they do, a regular job or career or advancement that you're competing for your position. But really, we're all just, out here as volunteers, and we're lucky to have the positions that we have and be able to do what we love doing in these jobs.
Oh, and I saw where you reached out to Bill Moore, Project New Hope. I'm going to call him this week and see if he'll come on and talk with us.
Yep, and next week also we've got Nick from Veterans Upward Bound. It's a program that helps people reintegrate to go back to school. Like for me, I took 10 years off from the time I got my associate's degree to the time I went back to school. So I don't remember how to cite anything or to write a paper again. So it was really good to be able to go in and go over to Suffolk University where it was at, in person at the time. Now they've got, virtual everything. They've got tutors. They've got, you learn languages. The program is exponentially better than when I went through it a few years ago. Nice. And Nick will really be able to explain a lot of that with the Veterans Upward Bound next week.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. And we got Memorial Day coming up before we know it, and there's going to be a lot of things going on. What can a nonprofit do to advocate but also honor, those who have passed, Michael?
The biggest thing is, check to see where, your local groups already have established events. We don't want to take away from, what the Legions of the VFWs are doing. They've had, ceremonies on town centers, and they've had, they go out and they get the flags put up on the graves. And, that's one thing that, always looking for volunteers to go ahead and, every Memorial Day and every Veteran Day, they replace those flags. And if you're going out to do it, make sure you bring a screwdriver with you because the ground gets hard. So you want to be able to stab it with the screwdriver, slide the flag in.
That's
you also have Mass Military Heroes Fund. I believe they are now a subsidiary of Home Base Program. I believe they just were taken in by Home Base. They're the ones that do the 30,000 flags on the Boston Common.
Oh, really?
And so that's for Memorial Day. They do that.
Well, and also, go ahead.
And it's really, when you see the the turnout for people to come out there and volunteer. You have companies that will send 5 or 6 people out there. They're all wearing T-shirts for the company, showing their support and going out there, and you get like a little 5 foot by 5 foot section, and they give you here's 50 flags. Go ahead, they've got it all planted out and everything, and like it's just really awesome to see the entire community come out and get that set up and that it stays out there on the common all weekend.
And that's good stuff. This morning in Abington, the Abington VSO Abington Gun got together with Martins in Abington and Fred Willem, or Villa, I think, has been giving breakfast to veterans every month for the last year. And places like Home Base and other orgs may be able to come in and explain what they do to veterans and get them help right there. We need that kind of stuff.
That's so important to be able to have, a state like Massachusetts for us to have it. And officially today, it is no longer, the Department of Veterans Services, Massachusetts. It is Mass Vets. So today officially launches Mass Vets, and that gives, I believe, the Secretary of Mass Vets now becomes like a higher position in the government. So it does give us a louder voice in the state government now.
I saw that today, and they have a lot of things going on in that regard, right? There's a lot of people trying to do their thing where they are, and they've kind of just collapsed it all and made it centralized.
And that's what's always, it is nice to have, your own little, corner of the world, but it really does, like, for example, Veterans Upward Bound now has an office at Brighton Marine, too. And, I'd be neglected to not explain Brighton Marine. It used to be a merchant marine base over in Brighton. Then it turned into TRICARE during the 90s. And then a lot of them left, and there was a bunch of offices left and empty buildings. So Soldier On got together with Brighton Marine, and they have a residence there that's a permanent residence for previously homeless veterans. So they don't have to go to a shelter and be there for 2 years and then get kicked out, go to a home, recycle, and come back. They are now able to stay there. They've got a case manager that works with them from Soldier On, touching base with them. They've got mental health services right there too on Brighton Marine. So it's a very rebuilding process that's going on with them. But they work together with the Unite Us program, where if I have somebody that wants to do a podcast, I can go on Unite Us and I can say, Oscar Mike Radio, they're the ones that want to do that. And I can see my referrals over to you, and I can see it the whole time. And once you click it and accept it and you touch base with that person, I get a little green thing that says, you've touched base with them. So you're not telling people anymore, hey, go see this person, they can help you with this, and then they never talk to them. Now I can see that person, responds or not.
That's the kind of stuff we need. People are trying to do their thing, and people are trying to figure things out, and it's just as simple as that, right? I want to go back to homeless veterans, because for a while there it was, hey, if you're a homeless veteran, we're just going to house you for as long as it takes, or as long as you want. There wasn't really a push to get them out in the community again. What do you think changed that?
The unfortunate thing that changed it is the people that run these shelters. There aren't that many veterans that are holding positions in some of these shelters. Not that you have to be a veteran to run these places, but being able to relate to the people who you're serving is immeasurable. Like, it really does help if you can sit down with people and say, I don't know exactly what you're going through, but, I know the other stuff that you're going through. Whether it's, treatment for PTSD, whether it's, isolation and, like, loneliness after being, surrounded by people for X amount of years in the service. And, you've got these different organizations. The shelter I lived at was Volunteers of America. They ran Mass Bay Veteran Center in Somerville. And when I got there, I started out as a 2-person room. And then eventually I went up to a 1-person room once availability was there. And then from there, I worked with the VA and got HUD-VASH. So I was able to go and get an apartment on my own and get back on my feet. But there was a lot of people that were going through the program that they were happy with just getting their disability check and being there. And I think that was something that the leadership was seeing, and they wanted to make sure that those people weren't stopping a vet that was motivated to get themselves, back and reestablished, to get themselves out of their situation. We're going to be stuck on the street because somebody was okay with, where they're at.
What was it like coming out of that when you finally got the keys to your first place and started, getting going again?
Oh, it was wonderful. I mean, there were times that I would go and I'd be working at the VFW during the night, and then, sometimes I'd go down and work doing installations, for Costco. My buddy's a plumber, and we'd go around and we'd do the washers, dryers, gas stoves, and dishwashers. And we do install and remove on those. And we'd go around doing that, and then I would come back and I'd go take a nap, and all of a sudden somebody's banging on my door. We got a meeting for this, we got this, and they don't know that I've just been out all day working. They just go right down everybody's door and bang, 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 bang. And it does. It's, it's like living in the barracks all over again. But this time it's a barracks, you didn't sign up for. And, you're all going through whatever you're going through that put you there. So it's people that are all working on themselves, but they're also trying to work together, to be able to live together. And it's really tough to be in that situation. I found myself often, spending 23 hours a day just in my room by myself. And that's where the Haven situation came up. And, that's where, talking with people, they were like, you should get, a service dog, Jose. And, that's, wound up going through Operation Delta Dog for that.
One of the things we have to do as veterans is find that way out and take advantage of that help when it's there. So, really, you've lived this, is what I'm trying to say. You're not just some person in a suit up there talking about, concepts. You've actually said, what, I need to change. Here's the help available. I'm going to take a hold of it and go with it. A lot of our brothers and sisters just think there's no hope out there. How did you hang on to your hope?
The support network I had was really good. From going overseas, multiple times with different units, with the Mass National Guard, I had built up, good friends that had, gone overseas, some of them more than once, some of them just once. But being able to have those people to lean back and call and to, check in on me. And even doing the installations with my buddy that I'd grown up with and gone to high school with, it was nice to be able to have that familiar face, during all that, to have almost somebody to lean on and to gripe with while I was going through everything, because it is a hard situation, to go in and say, I've lost everything, I need to start over. And, it does. It's a kick in the junk, and, you got to get back up on your feet after that. And it really is, a lot of guys think they can just, turn around and get there. But the first thing I was told when I went and sat in the VA was, all right, you can go to, Father Bill's in Quincy, but if you go there, just make sure you don't have anything valuable, and make sure, you don't tell anybody you're a veteran. Because if you tell me you're a veteran, they're going to want to try to test you and fight you the first night you're there. And it just blew my mind. I'm like, why is the VA sending people to this shelter if they're, going to fight veterans their first night there? So,
I'd like to say that you're kidding, but I know you're not because I've
no.
heard those stories before.
And like you've got Court Street in Boston. The same thing. It's one of those shelters that you go, and during the day you leave and then you come back at night, and it's just that transient lifestyle. It's very taxing, and to not have a place of your own, to not be able to just go take a hot shower whenever you want, or not even having hot water sometimes because the other guys in the building have used it by the time you get there. So
Right.
it is tough going through all that, and like even like crazy stuff like being able to like put the AC on. Like you couldn't turn the AC on until June 1st. The heat didn't turn on until November 1st. And like there's sometimes that it gets 30, 20 degrees in October, and it's just like
Cold nights, man.
yeah.
Cold nights. Well, Michael, I've got to try to be in 3 places at one time, so I'm going to turn this over to you. I'll be able to pop back in around 8 and in the stream, but feel free to talk or whatever. I'm going to put the link in the chat one more time if you want to come in and talk to Michael. And we're going to do this next week, and next week's clear. Next week I'm fine.
Sounds good. Yeah, next week, I feel that'll be a good one with, like I said, Veterans Upward Bound will be joining us, explaining what they do and, how they help vets.
All right. So we're fully in flight for next week. This is just one of those weeks we're trying to be super Gumby. Thanks for being here, and turn over to Michael.
All right, thanks, Travis. See you when you get back. Yeah, like I said, everything that changed was being able to have that person to lean on and have that person to talk to. And it's the people that you don't expect that really surprise you out of those situations. Guy Brennan, he's the one that called me up and, said, hey, I know this person that works, at a facility. If you want to go, outpatient clinic, you can go talk to somebody, be able to get your head right. And, and that's what it took was, somebody basically holding my hand saying, hey, you're trying to help other people, but every time you go out there and you help somebody else and you're not helping yourself first, you're just burying yourself further. And so that's why it's so important, too, for nonprofits and for people that work in them to make sure that they are taking, precaution and have, self-care and a good routine set up for themselves. Because you don't want to wind up, going 4 steps back while you're trying to help someone else. And really the best way you can help somebody else is by showing them what you've been able to accomplish and what, living it instead of just, giving them lip service about it. Because for a lot of years, like, I was telling people what they could do and how they could get help, but I wasn't seeking the help myself. I mean, I don't know if it was the stigma, if I don't know if it was just the way the world was, but it was tough, and, I just didn't want to admit to myself that I needed the help. So that's where the silence, the stigma came from for Hellfish Haven. And then working with, Travis, we put this together because it started out as like a peer support, like Zoom, and then I got sick and wasn't able to, continue going on with that. And the timing was just a little, bouncing off where other veterans groups in the state were doing, peer support groups at the same time. So we didn't want to compete at the same time. Like, we want to be able to make sure that everybody has a chance to reach out to the audience and have as many people, share their story and to be part of their process as well. Like, right after us, if people want to watch or listen to Hidden Battles Radio, they're going to be on 9:80 a.m. Mike from Specialist Cleaning Foundation was on with them last week. They were talking about wellness and mindfulness and just different techniques that'll help you there. And it really is good to always have a plan on coping. And one of the things that really helped me out through everything was having a safety plan. And it's such a weird thing to have, where like these are 3 people that I can call and just, shoot the shit with. These are 3 people that I can, actually say, hey, I'm going through some stuff right now. Can we talk? Can we go somewhere? Can we do this? And then, I don't want to misquote it, so I'm going to open up one of these ammo cans, and hopefully it's in there. But basically the whole reason of the ammo can, it's a hope box. It's something that gets you out of the headspace and into being able to, fight back. And like today, we just got a donation from the Army barracks in Saugus to purchase, 5 ammo can hope boxes. So that way we'll be able to run an event soon and invite people to come to the Haven and, create and build their own. And like, so you got your safety plan? And it is, you got the first one's warning signs. And then internal coping strategies, things I can do to take my mind off my problems, playing video games, writing stuff down, if you journal, if you, people blog, whatever you want to do, listening to your favorite song, going for a walk, those are things that you can do on your own. People in social settings that can provide a distraction. If you go to eat, if you, call somebody up to go play video games for a little bit, or, you go bowling, whatever you do to get out of the environment you're in. Today I was in a save training. Absolutely. And it is definitely like a bug out bag. And the next one is people who I can ask for help during a crisis. So those are your closer knit group. Your, the guys that you have gone overseas with, the guys that you're in the service with, the guys and girls that, you grew up with and that you trust. And then you've got the professional or agencies that you can contact during a crisis. And that for me, like home-based program, Bridge Clinic at MGH, and now you've got 988. Instead of the Veterans Crisis Line being the 1-800 number, now it's simply 988 and then press 1. Or you can go to veteranscrisisline.org, lifeline.org, and you can see that you've got the chat there. You've got you can text them, talk to them online in like a web chat, or call them. And anytime you do that, you'll be connected with somebody, and they will talk you to and talk you through. And you don't have to worry about inconveniencing somebody, that you're not sure if you really deserve to be on the line with someone. You do. What you're going through matters, and whether you think it's an inconvenience or you think it's not worth it to call one of these lines. You'd rather have you call the line, talk to somebody, and get through it than to, keep brewing and keep, getting stuck in your head and possibly make a decision that, you can't reverse. And then, you want to make the environment safer. And, like, the big thing there is, I 100% believe, you got your Second Amendment right. You can, you can have your weapons, but make sure they are locked and safely stored. Make sure they're not, right there in case you have a situation where, your mindset isn't right. Put a barrier between you and the ease of access to do something like that. So, like, that's one of the big things that, everything you see now shows the not regulating, but a plan for lethal means safety. You see that every time you look around. And then, like, other things that you can put in, like, there, you can throw photos of friends and family. You got Top Gun for Nintendo. or baton from the Firefighter 5 Foundation. I got a call from a friend of mine and said that they were doing a relay from Maine all the ways down the East Coast. And as part of that, there was a section in Maine that wasn't being done. So they said, "Hey, Mike, can you, get up there and go up there?" So what I did is, I got up there and I took care of it. And we got Chris on the line from Hidden Battles Foundation. Hello, Chris. And hey, Jose. I know you want to see what's in the box too. And I mean, Jose, as much as he's a pain in the butt sometimes trying to knock over the computer while we do this, I'm happy to have the little guy, and he knows when I get excited about something, or I get passionate about what I'm talking about. He starts getting up thinking that I'm getting worried or I'm anxious. So it's good to see that his training does work and it pays off. But back to the relay, I did I think Lebanon to Kittery. Not 100% sure if those are the towns and if that's in the order, but we did the best that we could there. And then, what else do we got? Tough Rock. Tough Rock I did, and I did it when it was virtual. So I was out there on my own doing the 26.2. You just basically, you opened up an app like Strava, and you looked at it and said, what can we do? Plan out your route, and you go. And for me, having a part of my spine removed, L5S1 disc, it was really tough at times to do. But you've got the pack, and you throw it in there, and you add some weight to it, and it gives you that time to reflect on your fallen brothers and sisters. And they were able to, that year and this year, they're actually making the little yellow strips that you can put on your bag when you do the different events like the Tough Rock or like Hidden Battles 22 for 22 that they just got approved for up in Hebron, New Hampshire, Newfound Lake. It's beautiful up there. Hellfish Haven has done hydration station there 2 years in a row. And being able to talk to people like when they take that break, and just seeing the support from the community during the 22 for 22K, not 22 miles, it's really awesome to see, to see these groups of people come walking down the street at you, and you get a group of 15, you get a group of 20, and then you get an oddball pairing of 2. And they didn't even come there together, but they met during that that ruck, and now they're talking, and they've made this lifelong friendship between that, of finding the common interest of sharing exercise and caring for the mission. And now they've got a friend that they can always rely on, and that's what's really good to see. And even the Silkies hike, they've got that. And if you want to see a lot of very high short shorts, the Silky hike, that is definitely for you, run by Irreverent Warriors. I believe they're doing a screening of a documentary that they have in Milford. I've got it posted on the Havens Facebook page. Try to keep everything up to date there for you guys. And whatever I find out, I try to share, because it's no sense taking information in and not sharing it with the rest of the community, because you want other people to be able to get the same encouragement and get the same benefit from all these organizations. And that's why it's so important to share these resources and share what's out there, because we do the work with Specialist Cleaning Foundation. We do the work with Hidden Battles. We do the work with Operation Delta Dog. We work their events, and they help us for ours. Being able to have another nonprofit to bounce ideas off, and and helping our veterans. Craig's, called me and we've worked on things together over the phone. How does this work here? And like, I've even had a guy from Texas that wanted to start a nonprofit. He reached out and, I had to do some research into, Texas, their laws that are a little different for forming a, foundation than masses are. But, it's basically the very similar process. And it's not an easy thing to do. And if you are thinking about starting a nonprofit, I would just, suggest first making sure you volunteer at one first. Before you go out there and try to make your own, go out there and be a part of another one. Whether that's being a day-to-day volunteer, whether that's, after you do that for a little while, asking for more responsibility in the organization. Saying, hey, what can we do, to make your organization better? And while you learn stuff like that, you can see, the right, wrong, and indifferent and make notes of it so that way you can improve it on yours, or you can keep the same, the same values, the same core beliefs that they have, and, continue, down that route. And it's so very important to have all that. It is. And it's very taxing at times. And like, when we, like, the end of 22 for 22 last year, you could just see it on guys' faces when they, the day's over, everything's been, grilled, and the tents are starting to come down, stuff's getting packed up, everybody's, riding the high of the day, but now you gotta, you gotta pack everything back into the backs of the trucks, and, it's definitely, it's different to see in the morning when they're preparing to the afternoon, but everybody is still happy. You may be yelling at people because they're not listening to you when you're trying to, lift something up and shift it, but everybody is just, I don't know, I can't explain, how it makes people feel besides just saying, go out there to some of these events and see and be a part of it. And like, everybody out there is, doing their damnedest, and, and they're doing it for the cause. And like, that's the biggest thing too, is, whether you're doing it for, the Haven, whether you're doing it for another organization, make sure, the cause is always, the purpose. Stay true to that mission statement and stay true to, the bylaws and everything that you create. Because, when you sign up for everything and you make the agreement with the state and the federal government to become a nonprofit, that's what the agreement is made upon, is those bylaws and that mission statement. So you definitely want to make sure that you cover everything. Like, one of the biggest things I was told was to make sure I covered, if I wanted to do veterans and their families, to say that right away. So, we made sure, veterans and families and caregivers, everything's taken care of, and, everybody, has their place, and we're able to share our mission and share, what we do with each of those. Because, like, we'll have, a father and son come in to play, Mario Kart with us, while Dad's learning about the different programs that are available. And the son just thinks it's great because, he's in there playing, with a Switch or a PS5 or, and then we've got an Xbox that was modded out that's got like 30,000 games on it. So you got all the old games from Atari through PS1. And it's really awesome to see, the father-son relationship being built, but also that the dad or the veteran is there to, make themselves better. And, we're all really out there to make ourselves better, for our families, for ourselves, and, just to see it in action versus to go from where it was a PowerPoint slide, a couple years ago, and now to have the physical location and having guys come in and having girls come in and utilize the space and be able to give classes on the iPads to the Vietnam vets that, were, tablet illiterate. And, to be able to give them a literacy course on how to use their iPads and how to be able to contact the VA and, how to use My Healthy Vet and things like that. it was really, it's a good feeling to sit one-on-one with those guys and share that information. And we definitely want to keep, at that work. And there's another group of veterans that live on the other side of us. One side of us is the guys that are previously homeless, and then the other side is 100 units right on Com Ave that was built a few years ago, and they're military and veteran only in the building, and they looks like the residences at Brighton Marine. And like if you go to the website, and if anybody ever like needs a place like to live in Boston, like I don't think you're gonna find a place cheaper than that, because it is very cheap. You get 2 parking spaces, but no free promos. Brighton Marine's good to us, and like that's like they got a twofold job. One is the like a community outreach liaison, where they can get you in touch with the services if they don't have it themselves, like Soldier for Life, these large organizations, your congressmen, women, all come to Brighton Marine and speak with them, because they used to be TRICARE, and the reach that they have is a lot larger than what we do. And being able to be there on their campus, does give us the ability to work with a lot more of these men and women than it would have been previously to if we had just opened up in the middle of Alston, or opened up in JP somewhere. So we are fortunate to be able there. Thank you, man. I'm definitely glad that everybody that comes by, we're appreciative to everybody that comes in and views, whether you're checking us out on Oscar Mike Radio or Hellfish Haven. It's good to have everybody there. Everyone that's watched us, shared us. We try to do this to create the community, to have the effect of a conversation going back and forth, instead of it being we're talking, you're listening. We wanted it to have a different effect where week to week the people that are on here with us are part of the show, are part of the the peer support, because that peer support right there is to me the most important thing that's out there. You can talk to your doc, you can go to a psychologist and work out whether it's cognitive behavioral therapy, or whatever the route they have you, DBT, or you can talk to a peer that has been through the situation. Like for me, being able to talk to the guys across the courtyard and not look at them and say, yeah, I understand you because I'm a vet. No, I understand you because I was a homeless vet too. And so it's having that ability to reach that community that I feel is very important. Like, and that's why I couldn't just come back and get everything right and then bunker down and play video games by myself. That I had to be able to share my story, so that way guys can know that even when you feel like you're down in your luck and you're there's no place to go, there isn't any place to go but up. You really you look at it, you reevaluate, and you make the change. And only if you're willing to make that change can you do it. No one can make you do it. Like, if you have a friend or a family member that's struggling right now, and they're pissed off, they hate the military, they don't want to be there, and you're worried about what they're going to do to themselves or somebody else, but they're not willing to help themselves, you can talk to me about it and say, hey Mike, can you talk to them for me? And I would gladly talk to anybody anytime. But if I talk to them, it's not going to be, hey, jackass, get your head out of your butt. But it's going to be, hey, whenever you're ready for this conversation to really take it in and listen, I'll be here. But until then, we can't have that conversation. because you really have to be ready on your own to be able to take everything in and to be able to say, hey, I want to make the change. I know that I'm effed up right now. I know that something's not right in my life. And that right there may be some of the hardest things to do, but you've already served in the service. That was one of the hardest things to do. And you all did it. And, the service is in the end all be all. But seeking mental health, that's also another, outstanding that you did it, I've seen people go from being, you don't want to be a profile ranger, you don't want to go to sick call because, you don't want to be that person, to, being able to talk in a forum like this, veteran to veteran, supporters, everybody here with us, sharing how we feel, sharing, our mental health. And, for me, that is outstanding. Like, to see this going on now versus, where it was when I enlisted in 2001, it is just so much better, in that aspect. And I feel like as we, silence the stigma, or F the stigma, and, we grow here, and, like, we need to share that with, other, men and women and our friends on the outside as well. We have to share, what we're going through, but we have to share that it's okay for them to say it too. That, the stigma doesn't just stop, outside the armed services. The stigma, runs across, fraternities and colleges and, careers. Oh, you're a wimp if you do that. Oh, don't do this. And it's like, oh, you can't handle a little, bullying, or you can't handle a little, tough love. And it's like, you can handle the tough love. You can handle the hard shit because you endured the service. You endured the suck. And, you embraced it and, you got through. But that doesn't mean, it didn't affect you. And that doesn't mean that today, if somebody does something, that does, mess with your mind and, your headspace, that, you can't say something. You definitely can. And, that's where it's so important too, people laugh about, like, the make fun of things in mental health that are frustrating sometimes when people are like, oh, the, blanket statement, all vets are fucked up because they went overseas, or all vets that have PTSD are gonna, be suicidal, homicidal maniacs. And it's like, some people that have, taken their lives and, have been the happiest people. And then it's just... So, there was something in today's SAVE training that said, from the thought to the action, sometimes can be 1 hour. So in the time that we've had talking tonight, somebody could have had the thought, I would like to take my life, and right now they're committing the act. So that's how important it is to have people out there on the streets, out in their lives, that are trained on being gatekeepers, on being knowledgeable on, what questions to ask, how to, persuade them to, to get help, and to, where to refer them to for that help. That's one of the things that we have is QPR, and it's one of the trainings that I'd gone through and got certified in. So if anybody wants to do the QPR gatekeeper training, I would happily, be willing to jump online and, go through the course, or get like 5 or 6 guys together, come up to the Haven, sign out the, I'm brain farting right now, the conference room, and be able to, have the class. And you do, you get the packet that tells what's going on, you get a certificate for the course, and then you are certified as a gatekeeper. And, you do sometimes have to ask the question, and that question is, are you going to harm yourself? Are you thinking about killing yourself? And you don't want to, do a question be like where you're inferring it for them, like, are you going to do something bad with that gun? Like, you don't do that. You just ask, are you having bad thoughts of, harming yourself? And you can be direct, and you being direct isn't going to all of a sudden put that thought in their head. Like, no matter what you say to them, if they already have a plan of action and a means to the action, they're not going to change it, just because of something you brought up. Like, if they're planning on, taking medication and being gone, you see a rope and, ask if they're going to hang themselves, they're not obviously going to change. So, if you can get the person away from the environment that they are in and that they think, that is going to be the end of their life, it really is it's so important to be able to say, hey, just, come with me. Let's go grab a coffee at Dunk's. KO was on with us a few weeks talking about, want to be able to give, a couple bucks to somebody else to go get a coffee. And, just a small act of helping another, helped him. And it really is, for me, I love being able to help other people. Like, this is what I did. But, like, for that time being, when I was in the shelter out there, I could not help others during that time. I wasn't, I was hurting myself trying to do more than I could. And, like, that, that's what I tried to do, all right, let's throw some more stuff on my table because I didn't want to be at the shelter. So I just kept trying to pile more stuff on my plate. And, that's, looking at that, I see why, some of the things didn't work as well as I wanted them to. But now that, I've got the time, mostly, baby Emily running around, Jose, the two of them trying to, get our attention all the time. So, don't have as much time as I'd like to anymore. But, whenever there's a vet out there that needs a place to come, just give me a call, shoot me a text. I'll open up the Haven during off hours. And, just come hang out. Just come, get away from, what's troubling you. And everything that, and have learned over the years, put it to action. Everything that and you have learned, share with others. The suicide prevention program, from the Army, resiliency directorate, don't take it as just a check the box joke, actually engage with it, see what's available, find out, what different organizations are out there, whether it's, AFSP or NIM or SMA. There's so many organizations out there that are doing great work to help. Psych Armor, if you go online and look at the Governor's Challenge, you can take class on what a veteran is, learning about the culture of veterans and things like that. Because the culture is something that's important too. Like, if you don't understand, like, two guys talking to each other and they seem like they're, talking really dark, you have them talking back and forth, and it's like, okay, let's get these guys some help because, what they're saying is really crude and really, like, morbid. But that's just, battlefield humor, and, it can get to that point. But if you don't know about the culture, then you don't know about that. So, all right, I think Travis will be hopping on here to close me out. But I appreciate everybody who's here tonight. Thank you guys again for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you guys. If you guys are able to, go to Hidden Battles Facebook page. They've got a live link for the show tonight.
Hey, man.
9:80 a.m. You can stream it on Hidden Battles Facebook page. They've got a live link for it. And there's Travis to say his goodbyes.
I don't know why I can't hear you. What happened there?
You got it?
Anyway, we're going to shut this down, and we'll be live nationwide next week.
All right. Love you.